Hello everyone, I am Sunil Kumar BL, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Canara Engineering College. I am handling Advanced Computer Architectures 17 CS 72. Textbook is Advanced Computer Architecture by Kai Hong and Naresh Jotwani. Reference book is Computer Architecture, a Quantitative Approach by John L. Hennessy and David A. Chapter 2, Program and Network Properties. This covers fundamental properties of program behavior and interconnection networks. Contents are conditions of parallelism, data and resource dependencies, hardware and software parallelism, the role of compiler. The ability to execute several program segments in parallel requires each segment to be independent of the other segments. The ordering relationship between statements is indicated by the data dependence. 5 types of data dependence are flow dependence, anti-dependence, output dependence, I/O dependence, and unknown dependence. Flow dependence. A statement S2 is flow dependent on statement S1 if an execution path exists from S1 to S2 and if at least one output of S1 feeds in as input to S2. Antidependent. Statement S2 is antidependent on statement S1 if S2 follows S1 in program order and if the output of S2 overlaps the input to S1. Output dependence. 2 statements are output dependent if they produce the same output variable. I/O dependence. Read and write are I/O statements. I/O dependence occurs not because of the same variable is involved but because of the same file is being referred by the I/O statement. Unknown dependence. The dependence relation between 2 statements cannot be determined in the following situations. The subscript of a variable is itself subscripted. The subscript does not contain the loop index variable. A variable appears more than once in subscript having different coefficients of the loop variable. The subscript is non-linear in the loop index variable. Consider the following code fragment of 4 instructions. Statement 1, load R1, A. Statement 2, add R2, R1. Statement 3, move R1, R3. And statement 4, store B, R1. The first statement loads the content of memory location A into register R1. Statement 2 performs the addition of the content of R1 and R2 and the result is stored in register R2. Third statement moves the content of register R3 into register R1. Finally, the fourth statement stores the content of register R1 into memory location B. Now, if we analyze the statement 1 and statement 2, we can make out in the first statement register R1 is an output register but it is being used as the input register in statement S2. So there is a flow dependence between statement S1 and S2. Similarly, if we compare statement S1 and S4, scenario is the same.
register R1 is a input register in case of statement S4, whereas it is output register in statement S1. So, flow dependence between S1 to S4. Also, compare S3 and S4. There is a flow dependence between S3 to S4. If we compare statement S2, we have a self-flow dependence since register R2 is used as a input register as well as output register. Then, if we compare statement S2 and S3, in case of S3, R1 register is being used as a output register, but same register R1 is used as the input register in statement S2. So this relation is a anti-dependence from S2 to S3. Now finally, if we look into statement S1 and S3, in both statements, register R1 is being used as a output register. So there is a output dependence between statement S1 and S3. Flow dependence is denoted as a directed arrow. Anti-dependence is denoted as a directed arrow crossed with a bar. And finally, output dependence is denoted as a directed arrow crossed with O. The relations between the program statements can be described using dependence graph. The nodes of a dependence graph correspond to the program statement, and the directed edges with different labels show the ordered relations among the statements. If we consider the code fragment of 4 statements S1 to S4, which is already been analyzed, in that we have a flow dependence between statement S1 to S2, S1 to S4, S3 to S4, as well as self-flow dependence between S2 to S2. So that can be denoted using the directed arrow. Also, we have the anti-dependence between statement S2 to S3 that can be shown with the directed arrow with crossed bar. Between statement S1 to S3, we have output dependence, so that can be denoted with the directed arrow with crossed O. Consider the following code fragment involving I/O operations. Statement 1 reads array A from file 4. Statement 2 process data. Statement 3 writes array B into file 4. Finally, statement 4 closes file 4. The relation between statement S1 and S3 is I/O dependence because both uses file 4. Control dependence. This refers to the situation where the order of execution of statements cannot be determined before runtime. Paths taken after a conditional branch may introduce or eliminate data dependence among instructions. Dependence may also exist between operations performed in successive iterations of a looping procedure. Consider the following code fragment with a loop where I varies from 1 to n. Inside the loop, a of I gets the value of c of I, and a of I is compared whether it is less than 0. If so, a of I is replaced with 1. So if we look into the index of this array, that I belongs to the current loop only. So there is no dependency between the loops. Like in the previous iteration, whatever the value we had, when it is compared with the next iteration values, there is no dependency at all. So this is called as a control independent instruction. Now consider this code fragment where the loop variable I varies from 1 to n. Inside the loop, we have a condition: if a of I minus 1 is equal to 0, then a of I is replaced with 0. Now you can make out the relation between the previous instruction to the next instruction. So that dependency is there. A of I minus 1 refers to the previous iteration content, is being verified in the current iteration. So there is a control dependency between the iterations. Resource dependence. This is different from data or control dependence. Resource dependence is concerned with the conflicts in using shared resources, such as integer units, floating point units, registers, and memory areas among parallel events. When the conflicting resource is an ALU, we call it ALU dependence. If the conflicts involve workplace storage, we call it storage dependence. In the case of storage dependence, each task must work on independent storage locations or use protected access to shared variable data. Bernstein revealed a set of conditions based on which two processes can execute in parallel. We define input set I of a process P as a set of all input variables needed to execute the process. Similarly, the output set O consists of all output variables generated after execution of the process P. Input variables are essentially operands which can be fetched from memory or registers, and output variables are the results to be stored in working register or memory locations. The Bernstein conditions are I1 intersection O2 is equal to null, I2 intersection O1 is equal to null, and O1 intersection O2 is equal to null. Consider two processes P1 and P2 with their input sets I1 and I2 and output sets O1 and O2 respectively. The set I is also called the read set or domain. The set O is also called the write set or range. These two processes can execute in parallel and are denoted P1 parallel P2 if they are independent and do not create confusing results. In terms of data dependencies, Bernstein's conditions imply that two processes can execute in parallel if they are flow independent, anti-independent, and output independent. Set of processes P1, P2 up to Pk can be executed in parallel if Bernstein's conditions are satisfied on a pairwise basis. Consider the simple case in which each process is a single high-level language statement. We want to detect the parallelism embedded in the following 5 statements labeled P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5 in program order. Assume that each statement requires one step to execute. No pipelining is considered. The two addresses are available. Compare between sequential and parallel execution of the above program.
The data dependence and resource dependence for the given code fragment is shown in the diagram. There are 5 statements P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5. 10 pairs of statements to be checked against Bernstein conditions. They are P1 to P2, P1 to P3, P1 to P4, P1 to P5, P2 to P3, P2 to P4, P2 to P5, then P3 to P4, P3 to P5, finally P4 to P5. So these are the 10 pairs. If we consider the pair P1 and P5, in that input set I1 is given by D and E. Similarly, output set O1 is equal to C. Similarly, for the statement P5, I5 is given by G and E. Also, O5 is equal to F. Now, if we apply the Bernstein condition for these two statements, all the 3 conditions will be equal to null. Therefore, P1 is parallel to P5. Similarly, we can conclude P2 is parallel to P3, P2 is parallel to P5, P5 is parallel to P3 and P4 is parallel to P5. So, these are the 5 pairs which are parallel. Now, if we look into the combination, P2 is parallel to P3, P2 is parallel to P5 and P5 is parallel to P3. So, with this, we can conclude P2 is parallel to P3 and it is parallel to P5. So, this is how we will verify which are the statements which are parallel to each other. For the given code fragment, sequential execution uses 5 steps, assuming 1 step per statement. There is no pipelining. Whereas parallel execution in 3 steps, assuming 2 addresses are available per step. Software parallelism is revealed in the program profile or in the program flow graph. Software parallelism is a function of algorithm, programming style and program design. The program flow graph displays the pattern of simultaneously executable operations. Whereas hardware parallelism defined by the machine architecture and hardware multiplicity. Hardware parallelism is often a function of cost and performance trade-offs. It displays the resource utilization pattern of simultaneously executable operations. It can also indicate the peak performance of the processor resources. Consider the example. There are 8 instructions, 4 loads and 4 arithmetic operations to be executed in 3 consecutive machine cycles. 4 load operations are performed in the first cycle, followed by 2 multiply operation in the second cycle and 2 add or subtract operations in the third cycle. Now consider the execution of same program by a 2-issue processor which can execute 1 memory access, load or write, and 1 arithmetic, add, subtract, multiply, etc. operations simultaneously. We can analyze software parallelism and hardware parallelism. In case of software parallelism, it varies from 4 to 2 in 3 clock cycles. So the average software parallelism is equal to 8 divided by 3, where 8 is the number of instructions, 3 is the number of clock cycles required to complete the task. So it is equal to 2.67 instructions per cycle. But when we look into hardware parallelism, actually those 8 instructions can be executed using 7 clock cycles.
So the average value is 8 by 7 is equal to 1.14 instructions executed per cycle. The 8 program statements by 2 issue processor can execute 1 memory access and 1 arithmetic operation simultaneously. With this hardware restriction, the program must execute in 7 machine cycles. Now consider dual processor execution. Here we may need to introduce 4 more instructions, 2 store instruction and 2 load instructions. With that, the number of instructions get increased to 12 instructions. So with the help of that, we will be able to execute all those 12 instructions in 6 clock cycles is shown in the diagram. With that, the average number of instruction executed per cycle becomes 12 by 6 is equal to 2. The role of compilers. Compiler techniques are used to exploit hardware features to improve performance. Loop transformation, software pipelining, and features of optimizing compilers are used for supporting parallelism. One must design the compiler and the hardware jointly at the same time. Interaction between the two can lead to a better solution to the mismatch problem between software and hardware parallelism. Thank you.